All right, there is no third time is a charm for this. It's this second time or we're done. Hi everyone. Today is tomato processing day. I'd say the fresh / frozen harvest was close to 50 pounds, but we'll say 40 just to be on the safe side. But I have thawed the tomatoes overnight now, and I've drained a lot of the fluids, so it's a lot smaller already. So I thawed them in some baking containers and their zippy bags. Got my roaster all washed up. Got my food mill that I also got for cheap on Marketplace already. I collected, what is this, a gallon's worth of fluids already from the frozen tomatoes. Now it's time to core and process before they go into the oven. Now this probably would have been easier if they were still frozen. Now this will be just a generic sauce, tomato base only. I will add the other ingredients like onions and garlic and peppers and salt and all that once I'm actually cooking it, depending on what I'm making. Typically it's spaghetti sauce, so any other day I might have just gone ahead and canned tomato sauce for spaghetti, but I'm short on those other ingredients of onions and garlic and everything else, so I will just do tomatoes today. That will make this day a little bit shorter and simpler. This is my first time doing this, so I put a few in the food mill. Now we're gonna do that, see how that goes. Okay, that was fun. Well, after about a half hour, this normally wears off quick. Making good progress, but this is hard work, obviously. So if we continue doing this, we're probably gonna go for the electric. But having a manual tool to do, your projects is a must. I'm separating out my tomatoes. Some of the pulp are going to compost, but some I'm saving for, I'll dehydrate to make paste. Not paste, to make a powder. Just because you can do that. Those are the ones that are pristine tomatoes. And then the ones that I'm putting in compost are the tomatoes that have a little bit of blemishing on them. But yeah, I have many hours of processing to go. All right, I am halfway through these tomatoes. I've got, what does that look like? Maybe 4 cups in there. So I'm gonna put that in the roaster, start up, and then continue with the other half. I don't know if I'm even using this thing right. I don't think you're supposed to use this to process so much all in one day. This is a workout. If you're not used to it, then your arm's gonna get tired. So I've been taking lots of breaks. So this is gonna take me all day. It's not that much tomatoes, but it's gonna take me all day. Now, as far as the size of the roaster, this is overkill for what I'm processing. But had I processed these whole, like I've seen plenty do and I've done in the past, is just just taking the core out but leaving the seeds and the skin and leaving it like the fruit, then it would definitely have fit in the roaster oven and would have been, appropriate size. But since I'm processing it beforehand, it's just going to be the fluids and the pulp in here, so it's not going to cover nearly as much. But it's still going to be good because there's going to be more surface area to evaporate the excess water. So it should process faster. So, where are we? Yeah. So let's keep going for the sunsets. I'll see you in a little bit. So that was just slightly less than the first batch. I had it at 250, but it might be too high, so I lowered it to 200. I don't really see any guidance on the temperature to keep it at. So consulting the roaster's manual for like spaghetti sauce is at 350. That has a whole bunch of other ingredients. And the ball book says simmer. So I'll keep it at 200 uncovered because I am trapping a lot of moisture in there, keeping it covered right now. I had vented a little bit, but there's still too much moisture. So I'll keep it at 200 for several hours, however long it takes. And then we'll get to, while that's happening, I'm gonna go sterilize my canning jars, lids, all the stuff. Start to heat up some water. Still haven't decided if I'm gonna do the pressure canner, or just a water bath. Let me see. I've taken the skins and seeds, leftovers, and I'm putting them in this. It's an air fryer actually, but there's a dehydrate button on it, on this machine. So I can put it around 120, process it for like 48 hours, I don't know, however long it takes, and then we'll be able to powder it. Good morning. We are picking up right off from last night. I left the roaster at 150 overnight, and that reduced the sauce enough. Just show you the consistency of that. I'm happy with that. We can always reduce it when we're actually going to be eating it. And then it's got that, the trace that people talk about, it leaves a trace. So I think that's a good thickness. So I've turned it off while that's been happening. I am sanitizing my jars. So we got out which one is this? The Presto. I've got pints boiling in there. When I buy the regular jars of tomato sauce, we take at least 2 meals to get through it. So I'm only doing them in pints, so that way we finish the jar, not have to worry about it sitting in the refrigerator for weeks until we get to it again. And also, so this is on high or medium heat. And then on low heat, I have the bands and lids, rings and lids, yeah. On cool, on a low setting, just to keep it warm. And that should be enough to sterilize it. Yeah, what else? Oh, we also got out the other tools we're gonna need, just the jar lifter, and where's the headspace? I lost the headspace tool. And this came in a set, and you can get it in a set. The supermarket has an aisle that has all this. And I've been reading my manual. I've owned a pressure cooker for decades, so it's not foreign to me how this will work. But it's a new equipment. You gotta test it out. I found out that it's huge and requires to sit specifically on my range. I was waffling whether to do water bath canning or pressure canning. I think I will go with pressure canning to use the equipment as intended. Plus, it's less processing time that way. Doing something the first time is always so nerve-wracking. So here we go. We've finished sanitizing our jars. We're gonna start filling them. I have a dish towel on top of my counter. Make sure we don't destroy the jars or the counter. So it's important to have the right headspace. It's important to debubble. And repeat as necessary. Well, that worked out pretty well. There's just a sliver left in there. We can make something. Then we got 9, is it 9? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pint jars of sauce filled. Okay, now we gotta clean up the top. Sauce is definitely messy and gets all over the place. There's no escaping that your jar tops are gonna have residue on them. So I put vinegar on this. I'll go another pass. So if you can see all that, I'll flip it over, do it again. All right, I am satisfied with those. Now we can line up the lids. Now everybody for some reason has a problem with this whole finger tight idea. So initially I'm just going to rotate this into hot. All right, now that it's just closed, and now we do one twist till you meet the resistance. And there, done. Now we put it back into the canner. So this will be a little bit roomier because I'm one jar short. Actually, you don't need the handle because it's not that hot now. You can handle that with your hands. If it was in the water bath, maybe you would need that. Now it's important that you have the can rack at the bottom all the time, because direct contact with the bottom and the water boiling will cause shattering in your glasses. And then the other thing, according to the manual, these jars can touch. So that's why you can fit 10 in here. They only have 9, so they have space to dance around. This is a stackable one, and it says, the manual says that you can do that, where you stack them over 2. Now, some people would be adamant that you would need another rack like the one at the bottom, but that's up to you who you want to listen to. Okay, now the lid. So initially you keep the pressure regulator off until you vent this for 10 minutes. So I'm starting off at the highest heat setting. Let this vent for 10 minutes and then put this on. And then once that's done, we watch the pressure gauge go to, in my case, 11 pounds of pressure. And then once that's settled, then that's when we start the countdown of how many minutes, which is 15 minutes in this case, that we're going to be pressure canning. This is the leftover we had left. It's about 100 ml, half a cup, a little bit more than half a cup. And the reason you don't put this size container in with there is all this space. There's never going to build up enough pressure to can this properly. I mean, I guess you can can this in those little jam jars, but that would be a waste, wouldn't it? Just eat it. And while we're waiting for all that to process, we have to clean up. It's not too bad. I did pretty good as far as keeping things organized, I think. Alright, you probably won't see it, but there is now steam, steady steam coming out. There it is. Woohoo! Not there. Oh, it was steady. Where did it go? Yeah, it's there. So 10 minutes of that, and then we put this on, and then we watch this, and then we do the 15 minutes. Alright, we've processed for the 10 minutes of venting. Now we put it in the pressure regulator. And then it's going to take a few more minutes to the dial to go up. From playing with this last night, I know that by the time it reaches 9, almost 10 pounds, I'm going to lower my setting to medium-low. And that will keep me at about the 11 pounds. You don't want to go below, but I don't see it being an issue with it being slightly above. And if you do fall below, you have to get back up to pressure and then start your timer all over again. So for certain things like a sauce, that's really not a big deal, but if it's something solid, then you really don't want to be playing with that and overcooking more that food. Alright, we've reached our 11 pounds of pressure. I slightly turned down the setting on the stove, so hopefully that will remain constant at 11. And now we can start. I've started the kitchen timer. I started it like a minute ago, so that will ensure my 15 minutes. I will be watching this. It's not something you normally walk away from anyway, but definitely first time doing it. I will be watching it to make sure that my analysis on temperature and time and everything else is accurate. I don't want it to fall below the 11 pounds, so I gotta make sure that this is the setting of fire that is consistent with that. And it's looking so good, so far so good. But yeah, I'll be standing here for a few minutes. All right, our timer has ended. I have turned it off, and now we wait for the popper to come down. That'll tell us the pressure has, what's the pressure done? Equalized. And then we can open it up. In the first 5 minutes, the pressure did start to go up, so I did have to lower the fire just a hair. And then that was perfection. And then that was perfection for the rest of the time. Well, as I'm standing here looking at the canner, I realized I have made a grave omission. I forgot the lemon juice. That is a no-no. It needs more acid. Tomato acidity fluctuates, so it is imperative that you either have lemon juice or citric acid, or there might have been something else, I'm not sure. So this is going to be a redo. It's not lost. I'm just going to let that cool, and then I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to add the lemon juice, and then I'm going to process it again. All right, our gauge is at 0. More importantly, this is popped down. Now we can open it. And I've let it sit for 10 minutes or so, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we go. Hot, 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 hot. Well, I see red water, or reddish water. May have had too much water in there. Alright, gotta let that sit for some more and then pop them out. I believe the reason for this is that I filled beyond the 3 quarts that the manual says to do. So these sealed up really well, even the ones that had siphoning issues. But now I have to open them without destroying. Luckily I found this. Hopefully it'll do the trick and not destroy the lid. Yep. Woohoo! Now, it is not advised to reuse these, but people have. I'm not going to reuse it this time, but I don't see why you would throw them out when you can reuse them for dry goods. So I'm saving these and just washing them. Then I'll be sterilizing a new batch. So the content needs to be reheated, remeasured properly with the lemon. Need to wash. I need to clean the rims, the jar rims for sure. So these will loosen up in the boiling process. That's okay. That's no big deal. Good morning. Unfortunately, we're on day 3, or I should say 2.1, instead of being the last day and putting things away in storage. We are instead doing what we did yesterday over again. So I've emptied out the jars. I'm heating up the sauce again. So that's important so that you don't get like that fluctuation in temperature when you're putting it into a cold product into a hot space. I'm re-sterilizing new lids. And I'll be using one less lid because of the siphoning. We lost some sauce, so we won't be able to fill up. We won't be able to fill up the same 9 containers as before. And so first I'm washing up the jars and the lids and the bands, and then we'll get back to pressure canning again. All right, we have doubly sanitized everything, even applied some of this. Here we go, magic ingredient. It is a tablespoon of lemon juice. That's not lemon juice, oh my God. All right, here we go, lemon juice. That was vinegar. Tablespoon of lemon juice per pint. 2 per quart. Ah! Oh, for crying out loud. Cannot win. The ultimate would be if I run out of lemon juice, but I think we're okay. I think I'll get it right this time. There we go. Ladle. I'm doing this in smaller batches so that I can get it into the hot water a little bit quicker so that there's less cooling down happening in between. So I wiped with the rag with the vinegar. Now it's finger tight. I feel like I tightened that one too much. Okay. This can be very intimidating for a beginner because there's a lot of steps. And you kind of want to follow them. Until you're more comfortable with what you can and can't get away with. Well, what do you know? As luck would have it, we had just enough from that first batch that was a leftover to make up for the loss. So I'm still able to get 9 pints put in. We have done the proper water measurement. We have the proper ingredient ratio. We have vented for the 10 minutes, put the regulator on. We have come up to temperature. We have started our timer, and now we're down to 11.5 minutes of waiting, and then the many minutes of cooling down. Then we will have a finished product. Fingers crossed. So you can see it's still bubbling up. That's normal. You can also see that the water is cloudy, not as bad as last time, but we still had some siphoning issue there, I think. So I just opened this. I'm gonna let it sit there for another 10 minutes. I think those are the last 2 that haven't popped yet. Now we have cooled these 24 hours. We can remove the rings for storage. The lids will hold. Oh, some of these are tight. Nope, no spoil leakage there. little bit there. But you heard the popping. These all sealed perfectly. Oh boy. Also, we removed the rings because we don't want to end up with a false seal in case something is defective. You won't realize it right away. So these will go in the basement. It stays 55 degrees constantly there. And the box is a good way to keep them all together and organized. This is a real achievement for me, a level up. I was able to grow, harvest, preserve. I've gone full circle. I can't wait what next season brings. I'm gonna grow bigger and better. I will talk to y'all again real soon. Bye.